Hello, and welcome to Almost Failure to Launch, a 4-part mini-series detailing some of the challenges I face as a prospective podcaster with no time and very little money. Now, while everyone's situation is unique, my hope is that in releasing this mini-series as a fairly fresh podcaster, I'll be able to provide some immediate insight that can help another prospective host vacillate less and execute more. Because, honestly, everything is easier once you take the first step. So let's talk Toronto Story Archive. The first 3 episodes of the podcast aired March 31st, 2017, but the idea for the podcast had been floating around in my head months before that. But every time I started moving in the direction of actually, putting something together, I stopped myself. I stopped myself for a number of reasons that seemed super practical on their face, but looking back on them now carry all the hallmarks of self-doubt and your run-of-the-mill inertia. Reasons like, why would anyone listen to me? Who would even want to be on my podcast? I don't have any professional equipment. It's probably super expensive. I'm just not ready. I need to do more research. Now, again, these seem like reasonable questions. Questions that should be answered before committing to hours upon hours of drafting, recording, and editing. The problem is that although the questions sound reasonable in and of themselves, the answers we give ourselves aren't always. Oftentimes, when these questions come up, we don't actually look for external answers. Obviously with the exception of question 4. Instead, we answer the questions ourselves, automatically, internally, or we ask our friends, who give us reassuring responses, which we then summarily dismiss because, they're our friends. They're obviously going to be nice about it, even if they think it's stupid. And so, more often than not, our ideas fade and die, leaving us with the ghosts of maybes and what could have beens. For me, that meant that at least a few podcast ideas came and went before my excitement about Toronto Story Archive overcame self-doubt and inertia. For you, my hope is that in discussing these self-doubt and inertia questions in detail, now as a new podcaster versus later when my advice would be a little more sage but possibly a little less applicable, that you can take an insight or 3 and let them help fuel your podcast launch. At any point throughout this mini-series, if you have questions, concerns, or comments, please feel free to email me at submissions@torontostoryarchive.com. My name is Waja, and thank you for tuning in to Toronto Story Archive's Almost Failure to Launch mini-series.